Hello race fans and welcome to the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve for the 2022 Canadian Grand Prix qualifying here in Montreal. This is going to be a fantastic qualifying session under sunny skies, although it may not be the case for the beginning of the weekend, but let's just get right into this session. And here's your practice report. Keita Watanabe again looking strong. The Canadian Grand Prix being one of his favorite tracks to race at. Yuki Tsunoda, again, the struggles of the last few races seem to be creeping in as Watanabe climbs up. Tsunoda is still lacking a bit behind, and heading to practice 3, Watanabe actually tops the session, fully in the groove here around this fan favorite venue in Canada. However, Tsunoda further down the order. Here's the dry setup that Watanabe will be running this weekend as a result of the race conditions aiming to switch from wet to dry. And with an interview of Yuki Tsunoda, who has been struggling and has been lacking motivation throughout the last few races due to poor results, Watanabe has been said that all about teammate support and hopes that Tsunoda can turn things around. Here goes Keita Watanabe down the long DRS straight, heading into the wall of champion chicane. Let's see what he can do from right to left. Oh, and he spins the car! He spins the car, and that completely disrupts his lap time as he has to do a pirouette, and surely those tires are definitely going to be overheated as he tries to get off the racing line as the McLaren almost hits him. That was a close call for sure. Here goes Watanabe one more time into the wall of champion chicane. This time being careful on his exit. Oh, he gets very close to the aforementioned wall, but he's up by, well, a lot of time, but that can be a little misleading as he crosses the line into P7. Now Watanabe on new tires. He's up by 5/10. This is a much better lap time, and surely we'll see him out of Q1. Let's see what he can do as he crosses the line. Purple third sector, that's 5th place. And he drops to 6th at the end of the qualifying one. But with the McLaren's actually looking very good, and Tsunoda just makes it through, and we lose both Alfa Romeos, Williams, and Haas. Here goes Max Verstappen, top position at 108.6 as Watanabe barrels into the final chicane, being more and more audacious of his curb mountage throughout this after the spin, and he goes to the 3rd place, but his 2 title rivals are on the mediums. Final chicane now. He's down on his lap time, and hopefully this means that surely Watanabe will have to go for a second lap, but he's purple. And now one final lap for Keita Watanabe. He's down in P8. There's many medium tire runners, and will they be swapping onto soft compound tires if they're fearing getting eliminated? We'll see, but he's put up a green first sector, purple middle, and purple third. Where does that put him? And it's P1! 300ths of a second ahead of Daniel Ricciardo in the McLaren, looking very good. However, both Mercedes and Max Verstappen are able to qualify medium tires. Tsunoda's out. Here goes Keita Watanabe into the final chicane now. These aren't used soft compound tires. He's being a little more delicate this time around because obviously he doesn't want to repeat the spin, especially in these crucial sessions, and he's down still in P7. Now Watanabe barreling towards the line. 30 seconds left in the session. He's up by about 8/10, now 9/10. He gains time through the chicane. Let's see what this lap can do. Can he get the pole position we all want? He does! By over a second. That is a monstrous lap. However, Max Verstappen puts up a better lap. 700ths of a second ahead of Watanabe. So Watanabe hoping to capitalize on some lost form he's had in the last 3 races around his favorite circuit. Let's see what he can do this weekend. Very close. Here we go, race fans, around a wet Circuit Gilles Villeneuve here in Montreal for the Canadian Grand Prix of 2022. We're here for a cracking race, surely. Remember 2011 when rain created one of the longest Formula 1 races in history? Almost over 2 hours with plenty of red flags and plenty of carnage. Let's see what these streets have to offer. And here we are around the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve here on Montreal. And it's a very, very fast track with the tire pin at turn 10, turn 1, and the wall of champion chicane for a gutsy overtake if we want, with 3 DRS zones around this track. Plenty of chances to overtake, but will the drivers be willing to risk it amongst these intermediate conditions? The rain is starting to fall lightly, however, it's scheduled to not stay for too long, so what will the drivers do? When will the strategy be? When will be the best time to switch for dry compound tires? Surely the one who gets it right this weekend will see massive gains or massive losses. Let's go to the starting grid where we'll see for the Canadian Grand Prix. Max Verstappen gets pole position, but Keita Watanabe 700ths of a second on the front row. One of his best results of the best qualifying results this year. Let's see if he can capitalize. Hamilton 3rd, Lando Norris 4th, Valtteri Bottas 5th, and Sergio Perez in P6. Then it's Daniel Ricciardo P7, Carlos Sainz 8th, Stroll 9th, and Charles Leclerc in 10th. Sebastian Vettel 11th, Gasly 12th, the Alpines on 13th, 14th, Giovinazzi 15th, Mick Schumacher in 16th place, Kimi Räikkönen 17th, Marino Sato in 18th, the Alfa Romeos looking a little weak around the circuit, Russell 19th, Mazepin 20th, Tsunoda with an engine penalty in 21st, and Nicholas Latifi in 22nd. Tsunoda will have a lot of work to make up with his grid penalty for his new engine components after his DNF. Let's see what he can do. And here we go to 5 red lights around a wet, damp Jericho Gio Villeneuve's lights out, and there's a hesitant foot to the floor as the drivers try to get off the line well, and Kino Watanabe is a terrible second phase of his start. Hamilton goes on his inside. There's contact between the Toyota and the Mercedes driver. Into turn 2 we go, and Watanabe's fighting that steering wheel. He's trying to find grip on his cold intermediate tires, but Hamilton has got the better traction, but they're side by side. Into turn 3, this is a gutsy move. Can Watanabe do it? He does. Just stays ahead of the Mercedes, and that is a gutsy move from the Toyota driver. And now he has all this real estate to try and close in on Max Verstappen. He goes into turn 5, and he goes deep. He goes deep into turn 6, but thankfully he's able to keep the car in circuit, and now he just has to contain Hamilton behind. Let's look at this race start. As you can see, very hard. Like you can see, he's struggling to find gears in the opening phase, and that completely bogs him down in the second phase, which allows Hamilton with a much better start to go up his inside, and his contact definitely just curb bounced. A racing incident for sure, and thankfully not much damage to the front wing of Keita Watanabe. He's had a few issues with front wing damage in these past few races, but that's a gutsy move down the inside into turn 3. And here's a little look at the back of the grid. While his teammate is fighting for the podium positions, Yuki Tsunoda falls briefly to last place. That's a little concerning for the Japanese driver, but he puts him in an epic fight against Nicholas Latifi. And here we go, side by side, into turn 5 and heading into turn 6 now. This is a great braking zone as well. Can Toyota, he has the inside line heading into the corner. The Williams is on the outside, but the outside becomes the inside for Latifi. But Tsunoda has better traction and better power in that Toyota car, and he just gets his position back. Now Watanabe closing in on Max Verstappen. He looks so in the groove as he sets the fastest lap of the Grand Prix, and now he's closing in onto Max Verstappen. And when the stewards eventually will re-enable DRS, surely this will allow him to come back. As we go here to flash to Sebastian Vettel, closing in on his teammate Lance Stroll, having made up a place at the start, and then the smoke! Is that smoke?
Got an issue with the engine.
Very cool. Now you're clear behind.
Normal power. Forget it. It's gone.
Oh no. Closing in on Max Verstappen onto lap 4. Now he mounts a lot of curb heading to the World Champions. That's a gutsy move. You can very easily lose the car even in the dry when you mount that much curb. But now we go side by side with Max Verstappen. Is he edging for the overtake? He is down the inside of Max Verstappen. Oh, there's contact! There's contact! Watanabe has to wrestle the car back into the line, and Max Verstappen just pips the place. That's definitely some incidental contact though. Nothing malicious. And let's go out of the hairpin of turn 10. Here we go. Oh, Watanabe loses the back end. He's quick reflexes back, opens the door to Lewis Hamilton, and Watanabe is going to be kicking himself for that error. Let's look at this replays. You can see Lewis Hamilton, good exit. Oh, you can see, I think Watanabe just gets on the power too early and just has to catch the rear end. And here goes Watanabe and Lewis Hamilton. Into the pit lane we go. But will it be for dries or will it be for intermediate tires? We'll have to wait and see. But the track looks a little wet, but the rain is subsiding as Hamilton goes into the pits. And there's a lot of drivers in the pits, and the McLaren pit crew are carrying out dry compound tires, the mediums. So clearly this is for dry tires, but the track looks very wet. It is just a little gutsy by all the teams as we go out. And Watanabe's on medium tires, and he jumps Lewis Hamilton. He jumped Hamilton in the pit lane. It wasn't a particularly fast stop for the Toyotas, but Keita Watanabe's back into P2. Look at this replay. You can see here, there's a good pit stop for the Mercedes boys, but it gets just slowed down because of all the frantic traffic in that pit lane. He gets blocked by the Red Bull and the McLaren. And oh, he gets very close to that Ferrari entering the pit box. Here goes Tsunoda now on dry compound tires down the inside of his Marino Sato. That is a very good move. Max Verstappen, and clearly the switch to dry compound tires is good from all the teams as Watanabe goes purple in all sectors and sets the fastest lap of the Grand Prix. A beautiful, beautiful lap time. And now as he closes in on Max Verstappen. And here goes Yuki Tsunoda on George Russell, heading into the second DRS zone, down the long straight, heading towards the wall of champions, and that is a beautiful move right before the corner. And Tsunoda, yes, he starts down the order, but he's clearly showing that the Toyota has good race pace. And Tsunoda now on Mick Schumacher. Yes, these are slower cars, but you still have to be able to pull those moves off as Tsunoda gets behind the rear wing of the Haas car, and that is a beautiful move. Tsunoda is showing that he has found good race pace in that Toyota, showing some of his potential. And now Watanabe, here we go, very close to Max Verstappen, gets DRS, heading down the long straight, and this is surely an easy overtake with ERS deployed. Here we go, side by side with the Red Bull. Max Verstappen isn't going to fight this one, but Watanabe just pips the place through the wall of championship game, but Max Verstappen gets a better exit through the turn, but Watanabe has DRS, and that is the place secured, P1. Look at this replay. As you can see, just very, very easy. This long DRS straight. Once you get into slipstream, it's just easy sailing from there. But this chicane is so difficult. You have to hit your braking point perfectly, and Watanabe just does just that. And the sun is peeking out from behind the clouds as Watanabe leads this race, and then goes Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton into the pit lane for a second set of dry compound tires. So Watanabe is going to really have to start pushing his worn tires to see if he can bridge a gap. So make sure that the undercut from the Red Bull and Mercedes don't work in this case. And here goes Watanabe on the next lap into the pit lane. A 16-second gap to Max Verstappen behind. Not a very large gap. He will probably rejoin the circuit in third place at the most, but the crew will have to do a particularly fast pit stop. Here we go, and the Toyota pit crew, it's a bit slow from them, 2.7 seconds, and Verstappen is powering down to start finish straight as we speak, and he's going to get past him, and Lewis Hamilton too, but Watanabe is going to get on the power quickly. It is a little quicker to get back onto the track around Canada's pit lane because it's a straight line comparison to the chicane, and he's very close to Lewis Hamilton. Sure, we can get the move done on the next DRS straight. Here he goes, into the hairpin, following Lewis Hamilton close behind, and they're getting a wash of dirty air from the back markers. So this is played into Watanabe's hand perfectly. He's on fresher tires in comparison to his two title rivals, and he goes down into with DRS and ERS closing in on Lewis Hamilton right now. He's in his slipstream, and can he get 2 for 1 into the wall of championship game? He gets 1! Oh, it'll get very close between him and the Mercedes, but that is a beautiful move from Keita Watanabe up into second place. Look at this replay. As you can see, the slipstream effect isn't very remarkable in itself, but the dive, look at this, with a car especially in front of him too. Like, he easily could have picked Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton, and it caused a 3-way crash through the chicane, and Hamilton, quick reaction from him to avoid it, but that was the move was on. And now, closing in to Max Verstappen. Will he try to pull the same move he did on Lewis Hamilton? No, he thinks better of it. Further back than he was with Hamilton, but he gets DRS again because the detection point is way back towards the turn 10 hairpin, and now he's closing in on Max Verstappen. It's the fastest lap of the Grand Prix, has tons of overspeed, and he dives down the inside. Oh, there's contact between him on the left front end plate, but Watanabe goes wide. Can Verstappen find grip? He can't, and Watanabe re-seizes first place. Let's look at this move again. You can see dives down the inside, a tiny bit of contact, but I think that's just the overspeed he's carrying through the corner. I don't think there was any malicious intent on his part, because you can see on the next corner, he clearly compromises his own line, and Verstappen wasn't able to capitalize in it, but Red Bull is going to be very frustrated with that contact.
That's so blind, man.
Oh, and that's Sergio Perez pulling off to the side of the road. Is that an engine penalty? Yes, that is an engine failure, pardon me, as smoke billows. Here we go, around the hairpin goes Sergio Perez. He was up for a good result, but yeah, the Red Bull is not going to be happy about that, as the constructor fight with Mercedes is tightening, and having one of their cars DNF will not help them in this tight fight, and Perez will surely be disappointed.
I love the engine.
Unfortunate for Perez. Here we go on the final lap of the Grand Prix. Watanabe has suffered adversity through these last few rounds, but ever since he's come onto Canadian soil, he's looked dominant, he's looked in control, he's looked in the groove around the circuit, Gilles Villeneuve, and it's a good job from Toyota as Watanabe gets a second win of the season and potentially reignites a bit of fire back into this championship fight, and that is a beautiful result and a great way to put behind the woes of the last few races. And his teammate Yuki Tsunoda gets driver of the day from the fans, and that will do worlds for his confidence. Toyota is ecstatic with this victory after so much adversity. They have a fast car under them. They clearly have put a lot of work in over these new regulations, and they looked so good in Bahrain, but now they can really be confident that they have made strides, and now that will surely bring motivation back to them and their factory in Japan. As Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton complete the podium, both will be disappointed. Valtteri Bottas as well gets a decent result for his championship campaign after a DNF in Baku, and Yuki Tsunoda outside the points again, but having gained 9 places off the start. That is surely going to be do good for his confidence, knowing that there's good race pace even on his side of the garage as well. Keita Watanabe jumps up to 3rd place, but he's still 44 points behind the leaders. Max Verstappen's lead to Hamilton is up to 6 points, and Toyota Racing jumps Aston Martin in the constructors for P3. A tight fight for best of the rest surely is what Toyota can hope for. And here goes Watanabe, his signature Archer celebration onto the podium as he gets another trophy to add to his collection. That's win number 3 for the Toyota driver, and surely he will be buzzing as now the Formula 1 circus heads back to Europe for the French Grand Prix at the circuit Paul Ricard. Hopefully you'll join us then to see whether or not Keita Watanabe's form can carry on. But that's it from us today. Thank you so much, Canada. As for next time, goodbye.